I'm going to be going over Lor-Meta's weekly meta report, which will show us the best archetypes to use for laddering, and I'll show you the highest win rate decks or versions of that archetype, links to the deck codes, and the article in the description. So just looking at top 10 archetype play rate, we can see that Seraphy and Ezreal has taken over the metagame with the Noxus Splash, followed by a whackload of VAYNE decks, and a couple variations of Seraphine with VIKTOR, either Ionia or Shadow Isles. Let's get down to the power score, which will show us the magic decks we should be playing with. And according to the meta report and the power score, the 3 decks we should really be looking at for laddering are VAYNE Jax, VIKTOR Seraphine Ionia, and VIKTOR Seraphine Shadow Isles. Their power scores are so minorly different from each other that they're basically the same thing. And a power score is basically a deck's rating when you calculate its win rate against all the other decks in the metagame, but balanced out by the actual play rate. So the reason why Jax VAYNE has a high power score is because it beats up on Seraphine, Ezreal, Noxus, even though its meta score, which is its score against all the other top 10 decks, isn't quite as high. Personally, I'd recommend looking at VIKTOR, Seraphine, Ionia. If you're finding value in this so far, I'd really appreciate it if you mystic shot that like button. Yours costs 0, and it helps push this content to other people. And if you want more card game Runeterra goodness, decimate that subscribe button. So VAYNE Jax is just a, VAYNE Jax deck. It's good, wholesome Demacia, beatdown goodness, but it plays a lot of units with Improvise and has an assortment of tricks like Fish Smack, Single Combat. There's actually a lot of variety among the archetype in the spell slot, and actually in the unit count, and the spell count, so feel free to try out other deck lists or see what other people are suggesting. Seraphine VIKTOR Ionia is basically just the Ionia version of Seraphine Ezreal Noxus. It gets to play a lot of tricky Ionia spells, and yeah, Ionia Intellistones is really good in the archetype. And honestly, the same holds true for Shadow Isles, though I personally like this version a little more, even though the meta score is lower, just because I'm really high on Quietus. I would actually probably play 3, but that's just my personal bias. Ezreal Seraphine Noxus, I'm sure you've all seen it, you've all played against it. It's basically just a crap ton of Ultover and Noxus removal spells, combined with the new, really powerful P&Z card draw. Pantheon VAYNE is just a nice update of the Pantheon archetype we've had previously, mostly with Fiora, but now, he's got a cooler girlfriend, she does sick rallies, and it pretty much uses more or less the same cards that VAYNE Jax uses to boost itself up. Akshan Varus is a very interesting and I think kind of neat pile of just all these weird Varus cultist spells, but also combining them. Like, they have a lot of synergy with Akshan's Warlord Horde, so you get a lot of value and there's a lot of play to the deck, so that's kind of cool. Rumble VAYNE is just like this single-minded smash face, just go all in on Rumble and play these Demacia spells to get extra attacks and beat them down. VAYNE Gwen is, in my opinion, really cool. It plays Opulent Foyer. This is the highest win rate version I could find, and you're basically using a lot of scout units and combining with Tumble to get extra attack tokens, which lets you trigger Hollowed a lot, but also trigger Opulent Foyer as well. So there's a lot of synergy there. And lastly, we have Janny. This archetype has not changed much. I have seen a lot of sigils in other versions. I pray that is just a function of low games overall, since we're pretty early in the season. Click the video thing, you'll see some other stuff, and see you next week.